So it looked like Bria Hartley is going into hiding. And it looked like Bria Hartley is running after news broke about Sophie Cunningham being out for the season.
It started like a nightmare and ended like a movie. One moment, Sophie Cunningham was on the floor, clutching her knee while the arena went silent. Minutes later, the clip that would hijack the entire night raced across social media. Bria Hartley glancing back with what looked like a grin. By the time the final buzzer sounded, Indiana had stormed back from 21 down, Kelsey Mitchell had gone nuclear, and everyone online was asking the same thing. Was this just bad luck? Or the dirtiest pattern in the league finally boiling over?
Just the play that just occurred.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
The injury itself was brutal in its simplicity. Hartley barreled in at a weird angle, collided with a planted leg, and Sophie immediately grabbed her knee. Trainers moved in, fans held their breath. The broadcast cut to commercial with the kind of tone you never want to hear. Controlled, careful, already preparing you for bad news. After the game, the team confirmed it. An MCL tear, season over. And yet the play wasn't what lit the fuse, it was the reaction. Caught in that split second afterward, the look back, the expression people froze and zoomed and dissected. Was it a smirk? A nervous face? A frame taken out of a fast, chaotic sequence? The internet didn't wait for nuance. A single screenshot became Exhibit A.
This picture is going viral with Bria Hartley with the sinister grin, right? This malevolent look that's on her face right now. Clearly smiling after injuring Sophie Cunningham, man.
Context poured gasoline on it. Bria Hartley's reputation isn't spotless. Over the past couple of seasons, there have been chippy moments, ejections, and a viral dust-up that included a full tangle with Angel Reese. So when that still image hit timelines, a lot of fans didn't see an unfortunate collision. They saw a pattern. Receipts started flying. Old clips, heated shoves, memes labeling her always at the scene of the crime. Then came the claim that she'd like to post dragging Sophie. Whether you think that's damning or just dumb, it shaped the narrative. Carefree attitude, zero remorse, same old story.
Atkins, 7 to shoot. Cardoso rolls, catch. Cardoso over the top, can't get it. Reese fights for the rebound and a foul, and this time gets a little chippy and a shove on Nelson Adota. And listen, this arena, typically we'll see some ringside fights.
But the outrage didn't only come from fans. It came from the people who live this every day. Sophie's family. Her sister Lindsay fired a shot heard around the league, telling officials to focus less on fining players and more on consistently protecting athletes. That line landed like a punch because Sophie herself has already paid actual fines this season for criticizing officiating on her podcast and socials.
Maybe you should focus her sister. Maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are capable to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you. The only good thing positive surrounding Sophie Cunningham coming out of this game, she looked in good spirits in the locker room.
In other words, players get punished for talking, while violent collisions, quote, get decided later, end quote. You could feel the frustration. Then their mom weighed in, briefly, bluntly, calling Hartley disgruntled and plain mean. The post didn't stay up long, but the screenshot did. And once family steps in, emotion turns into pressure. Not just on Bria, on the referees, on the league office, on the commissioner.
Bria Hartley deserves zero benefit of the doubt. And Sophie Cunningham's family not too happy. I believe this is Mama C. Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's plain mean and plays out of control. Looked out of control to me.
Inside the arena, there was a different kind of pressure. Indiana had to finish the game. No Sophie, no Caitlin. Broadcasters started prepping the post-mortem. But something changed behind the huddle. The Fever tightened their coverages, slowed the tempo, and turned the game into a test of nerve. Kelsey Mitchell detonated after halftime. 34 second-half points. 38 on the night, slicing through double teams, burying pull-ups, driving the lane on pure will. Odyssey Sims' steady possessions cut down the chaos and made the offense breathe. Aaliyah Boston hammered the paint, yanked down boards, and turned extra chances into actual points. Every stop, every scramble, every long rebound brought the building back to life. When the horn sounded, the scoreboard told a truth no one predicted at intermission. 99-93, the biggest comeback in franchise history. On the worst night, they wrote their best chapter.
Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness. Chippy. In a scary moment as we went to commercial, Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker room.
And yet, the celebration outside the locker room was muted by a different drumbeat online. As the Sinister Grin clip gathered millions of impressions, something else happened. Bria Hartley's social accounts suddenly went private. Some pages disappeared entirely. That move, maybe smart, maybe just self-preservation, set off a whole new wave of speculation. Is she hiding? Is a suspension coming? Is she about to quit? The rumor mill did what it always does, fill silence with conspiracy. The less Bria said, the louder everybody else got.
So Mike put this up about an hour ago. He said, to all of those defending Bria Hartley, look at what she liked on Instagram. Emo, she's the dirtiest player in the league and should be kicked out. Most recently, Sophie Cunningham has been hurt with the knee tear and is out for the season. Look at this. Look at this. Now, Bria is the definition of consistency. Now, this is her liking this. This is her liking this post. Y'all see that? Breezy, 1414, and others. Bria is the definition. She's liking this post. Look at this. Death taxes and Bria Hartley always being at the scene of the crime. Now, that's her choke slamming Angel Reese.
Here's where the story turned, and not in the way the outrage merchants expected. Sophie spoke. First, a pointed message that felt like a line in the sand. F around and find out. It wasn't aimed at Bria by name. It was aimed at the noise, the doubts, the people writing obituaries for Indiana's season. Fans grabbed it, memed it, and marched it across the timeline. But then, on her own platform, Sophie did something a lot braver than a spicy caption. She gave the nuance. She said she didn't think Hartley meant to hurt her. She said they're friends, they're cool, and she has nothing but love for her. Wrong spot, wrong time, she explained. No malice, no villain, just a bad basketball collision with a horrible outcome.
I know Bria, and I'm actually really good friends with Bria, and I have been waiting to get on the pod and so we could talk about this because I did want to tweet it out, but I don't think that there was no ill intent. I think it was basketball play. I was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. She fell. Like, there's no way that she would go in there and potentially try to hurt me. And so I had nothing but love for Bria. And I even told my mom, because she tweeted something. I was like, no, Mom, I get it. But I promise you that I was like, Bria and I are super cool. And she would never try to hurt me. Because there are some girls that I think might, but she wouldn't do that. And so I have nothing but love. And so I hope people stop giving Bria some heat, because I don't think she meant to do that at all.
That U-turn matters. Because once the injured player herself says, I don't think she was trying to hurt me, everything we think we know about intent becomes guesswork at best and a smear at worst. It doesn't excuse sloppy play, it doesn't erase a reputation, and it definitely doesn't fix an officiating problem that players have been begging the league to take seriously for months. But it does recenter the story on two things that are actually true. One, Sophie Cunningham's season is over because of an MCL tear. Two, she chose both defiance and grace, protecting her family's dignity while refusing to label a peer a villain.
Making all kind of excuses to say that Bria Hartley is not a dirty player. Let me tell y'all something, man. Come on in here, man. Let me tell y'all something. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's a duck, man. Come on, man. She is the dirtiest player in the WNBA right now, winning the trophy. All right, winning the trophy for it. Don't sit here and try to tell me Bria Hartley is not a dirty player.
If you're the league office, this is the moment you stop scrolling and start acting. Fans can argue intent forever. The W can't. The job is to make sure a planted leg isn't a roulette wheel.
That means clearer standards, quicker whistles, and the backbone to review hard plays in real time without waiting for the morning internet to set the agenda. It means aligning penalties with outcomes, because if talking about officiating costs a player real money, but a collision that ends a season doesn't trigger immediate accountability, something is upside down. This isn't just about one play, one smirk, or one player's history. It's about the product. Protecting athletes is protecting the show.
Indiana Fever fans wake up pissed off today. Pissed off. Not only are we getting assaulted, but they're smiling about it. This is the 6th time they've smiled, laughed, and cheered on our Indiana Fever players getting assaulted, getting injured. And it pisses me off.
Meanwhile, Indiana did what good teams do when the rug gets pulled. They bonded over the bruise. The comeback wasn't just about numbers, it was about identity. Kelsey Mitchell's swagger became a shield, Sims turned chaos into poise, Boston made the lane theirs, and the role players, cutters, screeners, defenders who don't trend on Twitter, put their fingerprints on every possession. You could feel it in the building. This team refused to let an injury define the ending. They wrote a new one on the fly. Back online, the two timelines kept racing in parallel. On one, Bria Hartley's silence. Private accounts, whispers about investigations, old clips resurfacing like ghosts.
Bria Hartley has privated all her social media accounts. Now, this is coming off news breaking about Sophie Cunningham being out for the season. Now, we know there has been people kind of investigate this whole situation with Bria Hartley. And y'all know what I like to say is looking real spooky for Bria Hartley right now.
On the other, Sophie's voice. Hardline for a team, soft landing for her opponent. That combination is why her response traveled so far. It wasn't just heat, it was leadership. She called out the culture without feeding the feud. That's rare. And it's exactly why the league should take their cue from her instead of from whatever's trending. So where does this go now? The honest answer? Two directions at once. On the court, Indiana just learned they can erase 21 down without two of their biggest names. That truth is a weapon for the rest of the season. Off the court, the league needs to decide whether it wants to let screenshots dictate reputations or build a framework that protects players before outrage is necessary. If the W uses this moment to implement clearer rules for reviewing dangerous collisions, establish transparent thresholds for flagrant calls, and communicate decisions like grown-ups, the next viral grin won't overshadow the game.
But that's hilarious. That this hater out there, and there's a lot of them right now. I said yesterday they're mad because Sophie's being called a superstar and this and that and the other. Yeah, Sophie's got more pull than your Asia Wilson. I mean, Asia's on this monumental run. I literally wouldn't have known that if I hadn't stumbled across somebody that said, well, the WNBA is making Asia Wilson's late season MVP push. Sometimes, I mean, you just got to pay attention. The WNBA wants to protect certain people and certain players.
It'll be a footnote, not the headline. As for Bria Hartley, she's boxed in by silence. Maybe she's regrouping. Maybe she's taking the smart advice every PR pro gives on day one. Say less until you're ready to say something that sticks. Either way, the only thing that stops a narrative is a better one. An apology, a thoughtful explanation, a commitment to play cleaner, even a tough conversation on a podcast that people actually trust. Hiding feels like guilt, whether it's true or not. Stepping up is the only path back. And Sophie, she'll be rehabbing while the conversation she sparked keeps evolving. But don't miss what she modeled here. Two things can be true at once. You can demand better protection for players and refuse to label someone a villain. You can call out a system and still show love to the person caught in it with you. That's bigger than a soundbite. That's culture shaping.
Boston backs down Hartley. Aaliyah Boston, excellent post position. Picks up the dribble. Shot clock winding down to 7. Mabry, lob pass. Charles catches. No foul call. That's a huge no call. Looks for cutters. Charles the defense. Back on to Boston. Tina Charles. Backdoor Mitchell pouncing in the paint for 2. 30 points for Mitchell. That's the fourth on Charles.
Can't get caught ball watching right there. Great recognition by Boston as Mitchell makes that backdoor cut.
The irony is that the greatest proof of what the W can be happened in the same 90 minutes that gave the league one of its hardest optics nights. A star went down, the timeline went feral, and a shorthanded roster turned heartbreak into history. That's the story basketball keeps trying to tell us. In the middle of chaos, somebody finds a way. Whether the league does the same is the next chapter.
Mabry knifes off the screen. Charles is doubled.
And Indiana looks like they're in a zone right now.
Kick out and stolen by Mitchell. Explodes 2-on-1. Sims elevates for 2 and a foul.
Bug with their point guards. This is where you have Odyssey Sims coming in. Kelsey Mitchell making a great heads-up play here, but Odyssey Sims has done a great job early on coming in.
So here's the bottom line. The injury was real. The pain was immediate. The screenshot poured fuel on a fire already primed by past incidents. Family spoke because they felt they had to. The team rallied because that's who they decided to be. Bria Hartley can reset this by coming forward with clarity. The league can reset this by putting protection above PR. And Sophie Cunningham just reminded everyone what leadership looks like. Hard-edged, fair-minded, and loud enough to be heard over the noise. If you think officials failed to protect the players, you're not alone. If you think intent is impossible to prove, you're not wrong. But if you watched that comeback and still believe this group is folding, you haven't been paying attention. The fight isn't finished. It just found its voice.